Becoming aware and then rewriting those thoughts of like what's the opposite of that, because the only way you know what the opposite is to have that contrast. There's always a story and in a situation that can make you a victim, right? And we relate to each other based on these stories, like, oh yeah, I grew up like that too, or oh yeah, my dad wasn't around, oh yeah, mine either. So we're kind of starting to relate to other people based on these stories. So first, I think just become aware.
Someone is coming, and that person is you.
Pivot in your confidence, career, and compensation with the 5-Minute Career Hack Podcast every Monday and Thursday. Now get ready for a special interview curated just for you.
Welcome back to another 5-Minute Career Hack episode, and today I'm so excited. Y'all know I'm the Mindful Minute girl, and today I have a mindfulness expert in the building with me today. I have Micki Graham from You Are Magic Media. She is the founder of You Are Magic Media. She's a thought leader, a former corporate trainer, and a creative. She directs videos. She does all the things. I'm not going to butcher her bio, but I am going to welcome her because I'm so excited to have you on with us today. Welcome to 5-Minute Career Hack.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Listen, we're about to get into it today, and I believe I'm going to be healed. Because the pre-conversation was like, okay, so let me just be honest real fast. The pre-conversation was so lit that 5 topics came out of the pre-conversation. We have settled on one today, and I'm gonna shape it up, what we're going to talk about today. And I've been saying this a lot lately because I hear from clients, I hear from friends, family, of these things that are happening to them. And it's debilitating, and they're disappointed, and they're emotionals. It's just what they what they did to me. In a response to that I even came in our community and did, and I've been saying to people is, and I got this from the Compound Effect, so it's not my own.
Oh, okay, I'm familiar.
So Darren Hardy from the Compound Effect, and it was, you have to take 100% responsibility. You are 100% responsible for what happens to you. For what you do, for what you don't do, and how you respond to what happens to you. So today we're talking about victim mentality, because I feel that our emotional irregulation stands in the way from the way we respond to what's happening to us in our environments. And then we move into, well, they should do this for me, or they are going to come save me. And as Alicia Wade always says, no one is coming. No one is coming. But I even say, someone is coming, and that person is you. You are the one that is coming. So let's talk about vulnerability today, okay? You good with that?
I'm very good with that.
Right. So I know, being a former corporate trainer, now founder, CEO, you're switching mentalities, mindsets, all that. Your journey includes a lot of overcoming the victim, being victimized, right? And having these expectations of what they should do for you. Walk us through some practical steps that people can take to shift their mindsets from victimhood to empowerment and gratitude.
First of all,
I know that's heavy to start. So start where it feels good to you.
Let's unpack this a little bit. First, I think you just have to become aware that that's a thing.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm just now realizing, like, victimhood is a real thing. Yeah. And I grew up being identified as how people viewed me or what somebody would say, and I became like a storyteller of other people's perspectives. So I think first you just have to realize that if you're not happy with something, you need to just start to think like, okay, how else can I look at this? Yeah. And I think that's first. Yes. If there's something, I'll give you a prime example. Yeah. So, I'm super grateful for this person in my life. But I've been very challenged by it. And so, I mean, I could even back all the way up to being a kid, of like my mom and start to go down that spiral of our stories of how we were raised. Everybody on this planet has a story. There is not one person, even the person who was grew up with a spoon in their mouth or silver spoon, we talk about that kind of stuff. There's always a story and a situation that can make you a victim, right? And we relate to each other based on these stories. Like, oh yeah, I grew up like that too. Or, oh yeah, my dad wasn't around. Oh yeah, mine either. So we're kind of starting to relate to other people based on these stories. So first, I think just become aware. Become aware that if there's a situation in your life, there's a way to look at it. Yep. It's either a lesson because if something bad is happening to your life and looking at it with gratitude, really, really with gratitude, like, hey, I'm super grateful, like my daughter's dad. We didn't really know each other. I'm just going to put myself out there, you know? And it was like,
hey, show up as you
hey,
here.
look,
It's 5 Minute Career
we're
Hack.
just going to keep it real, okay? It was like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm going to have your kid. Were we expecting that? Not at all, okay? And I carried a lot of shame around that, and I expected this man to fall in love with me and to have a relationship with me and have this child. Like, I was like, society says we need to be together, and it just wasn't it. So I was a victim to that. I mean, it's been hard trying to raise a kid together. And, you know, 13 years later, I thank God he has, you know, shown up in the best way that he possibly can. But I was a victim to being a single mom for years. And I wore that like a badge of honor. Like, you can't tell me nothing. I'm a single mom. I take care of my kids. You know, we're not doing all the crazy child support. I get a little support, but it's not like I see a lot of men that are out here. We're not going to go down that way too much. But these men are getting robbed out here with child support. So bless any of the men out there taking care of their kids and paying all that child support. But I was a victim to it. And I loved to tell people I was a single mom. I loved it. And then one day I woke up and I was like, man, I had a friend that was getting IVF, I think it is, the shot to like start to be able to produce kids. She'd been trying for years to have a kid. And here I am complaining about being a single mom. And she had to tell me, girl, I'm sick of hearing about that. And it hurt. Because I was like, but you don't understand how hard it is. She goes, and I wish I had your situation. And that was like, oh.
So I loved how you talked about the origin of where your victimhood started, and then sharing that personal example and what I've experienced, because I've been on this journey of like self-exploration and self-discovery over the last 4 years. I've been able to tie back a lot of my behaviors when I was working a corporate job to my upbringing. And not that my mom did a bad job. She did the best with the resources that she had. But the way that I was showing up at work and some of the victimhood, some of the trauma bonding, it was because of the way I learned. Then, to your example, the way you began practicing life, victimhood went there. Michelle Obama always says, you practice for how you want to live. If you don't make up your bed, if you don't practice it, you're not going to be a person that makes up beds. And don't be trifling. She said that. Just had to add that in there.
Do right by people.
Just do the right thing. But I did know that my expectations in the workplace and the way I was showing up, that victim mentality and those other responses to my upbringing were showing up in the workplace. So tell me a little bit about like that maybe aha moment you had of like, I want to shift right now from victimhood to 100% responsibility right now. Like, what was the thing that happened that kind of got you to that place? I've heard so many different answers, but how long should my resume be? Listen, a one-page resume is ideal for candidates with less than 10 years experience. Now, if you have more experience, a 2-page resume is absolutely acceptable. There's so many steps to creating a resume story that converts to getting your dream job. Sign up now for 5 Minute Career Hack's resume hacking services and let us help you right now. You even get a 1-hour consultation with our team.
Yeah, and I will say how you were raised is going to carry over from childhood to teenage to adulthood.
Yeah.
Right? So it just kind of progresses. Just because you get older doesn't mean, you know, we get better.
Yeah.
We get more wiser, right?
Yes.
But sometimes some of the habits carry on.
Yes.
And so for me, I had, you know, I was kind of in the middle of things in my life, and I had gotten a job offer at Oracle.
Okay, then, come on, Oracle.
Yeah. See, there we go. With the response, okay,
Reputable
Oracle.
brands. Come on, no surprises here.
You know, I used to be ashamed to tell people I had a job because I was like, I'm an entrepreneur, and it's like, no, this Oracle job's paying my bills. Let's just be real. And I remember getting an offer for that job. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's really a funny story. I got reached out to on LinkedIn, and before that I had started to do some sales. I had a lot of success there. I started to train people on how I was doing certain things, and I was able to put trainer on my resume now. So now I was like, I'm a trainer too, you know? All the things we tell each other. I was feeling good about myself for that one though, okay? No victimhood there. But when I did get reached out to by Oracle, I was like, oh my gosh, these people, they're really gonna want, like, I don't have a college degree. They're not going to want to hire me. And I went through the whole process. And during one of the interviews, I actually had to create a training and do a training for 9 people that worked there. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Like, I have to do
This is intense. Like, I don't even want to work at this company now, you know, just crazy things. And so during that interview, when we finished, they were like, wow, you're like one of us. I was like, okay, you know, so it was a little nugget. I'm like, okay. So I got the job. And then I remember we started to train business development reps who were fresh out of college, right? So every Friday they're like, it's Spirit Wear Day, you know, wear your college gear. And I'm like, I'm going to show up in my leopard or my all black gear. I don't know. I don't have any of that, you know? And so people be like, where'd you go to college? And I'm like, I didn't, you know, I in the streets, I guess, you know, like, but in those.
School of the hard knocks.
Right. I'm just out here learning from other people, you know? Because your lessons and your blessings come from people, you know? Right. So in these moments, I started to feel like an imposter. I wasn't, you know, I had some, you know, imposter syndrome, or I was feeling like a victim because I'm like, well, I don't have a college degree. These people are going to look at me different when I'm training them. And at times I was training some of the high level executives, the VPs, the directors on new initiatives. So I'm training them, and I always thought that they would kind of look at me like that. They don't know if you got a degree or not, and they don't care.
Do not.
You know, so I was playing the victimhood, and I had one of my managers one day, such an amazing manager. I know a lot of people have corporate jobs and they're just getting like hammered by leadership. I've been so blessed. I've had some really amazing leaders. And he said to me one day, like, you do know that we hired you. Like, you work here not based on any degree or any of that stuff, because you showed up in that interview as one of us. Like, you were literally supposed to be doing this, you know? And sometimes you got to go to college to be able to do the certain things, doctors, attorneys, things like that. But sometimes you're born with the gift and you're born with the skill. And you don't need to have the paper to back it up. Like, I was naturally good at doing that. And so for me, it was like, oh, why am I being a victim? Or why do I even tell the story? Why do I tell people I don't have a degree? Who cares? Like, these people are not asking me if I have a degree. But it was like I wore that like a badge of honor. Like, I don't have a degree and I work at Oracle, you know? It was just crazy. So, yeah, you know, you start to let things, how you were raised, or, you know, the programming, and there's so much psychology we could get into about how we're raised and things that happen, abandonment issues and anxious attachment styles and all this stuff. But, you know, if you want to continue to be a victim to certain things and the stories, you got to become aware of the stories that you're telling. And when you become aware of those
tapes we play in our head,
the stories, then that's when you start to realize, like, okay, I'm not a victim to this. I got the job at Oracle. I worked there. I made the same money as people who did not have a degree. And you're not a victim. You can't walk around like, I don't have a degree. No one cares.
They don't.
They don't care.
I'm gonna add this quick nugget, because this is something that hit me recently, and I think me and one of my business partners talked about it. But because the degree thing, like, I have a 4-year degree, and I learned a lot of great things.
Girl, good for you.
But I have had the most. I've learned more in actually my experiences in school than I did just learning these concepts. And I'm saying this with love, but I don't remember a lot of the stuff. like, I don't remember a lot of the things. I can remember some experiences and draw from them, but I remember more, and I see the fruits now of my experience versus the degree. So I'm glad you had a boss around you that was able to, not only did, you know, share what he shared with you, but that you wanted to do something with it. And something else hit me while you were talking, because I was like, fresh revelation. So when you were talking about where we got victimhood from, it went back to the origin of what you were. But then when you talked about you were born with gifts, skills, and talents, that's also the origin as well. So the same place where you draw those or go and get evidence of all of your weaknesses is the same place where you go and discover your gifts and your talents. And I actually wrote something about that recently, because I was a choir directress at 8, right?
Okay.
And the tape that I played in my head all these years, it was a couple of really, like, probably poor tapes. Like, they were skipping and stuff. But one of the tapes that I played was the reason that I chose to be a choir directress was because I was afraid of being on a microphone. So it was easier for me to turn my back to the audience and just direct the choirs, right? So that was tape 1 that I had to, like, I literally wrote a newsletter about it. It's in my phone, because I was like, okay, I have to like, and then the second thing that I thought about with this specific skill that I have was that's actually where I started my leadership, being able to get voices to harmonize. But I I felt bad for the last 20 years because I haven't really directed anymore since I was like 24. So what I had thought was from 24 to now that I was sitting down on my gift because I wasn't directing choirs. And recently, and now just probably about a year ago, I started saying it out loud more boldly that, oh, I was a choir director. That's actually where I started leadership. And it wasn't because I was scared of the mic. It was because that was me, the origin of me cultivating this gift that I had of getting people to respond to me. And I haven't sat down on it for the last 20 years because I've still been leading people, places, and things, right?
I mean, you're behind a mic right now.
And I love it. I enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
We could go off on a tangent about what had happened, why I thought I was bad on the mic.
We got a problem here.
It's trauma. But saying all that to say, the same place where you go back to, understand where the victim mentality comes from is now, this is what you've helped me with, the same place where you can go back and find what's gifts, skills that you were given, yes, when you were born, but God chose us before we were born anyway, right? So it's there. You just have to have the reflection, like you talked about earlier. You have to have awareness to go back and really understand where that came from. So I guess I'm saying thank you because you just helped me.
My pleasure. Thank you. I think we talked through it, and like it comes through people, your lessons and your blessings.
Absolutely. And so that's the other thing the question that I have for you, and I love to get your insight because I'm sure, and I know this because I've had several people in my career when I was in corporate America that when I would have those limiting beliefs and that would come out of my mouth, they would pour into me, but I didn't believe them and I stayed victim. So you talked about this time where he said what he said and then that gave you confidence. I just want to understand more about like why you believed him. And then now that you don't care, you don't need a college degree, like what did that path look like that leads you to now you are Magic Media and I get to be in spaces with you. I don't even know if I care about a college degree, but sis, you like knocking it out the park, right? You got all the confidence, but I think that was a pivotal moment that carried forward into now how you're functioning. So what made you believe him and do something with that?
It was the character of that person. Like a lot of people looked up to that person, and it was just sometimes you just have those people that you respect, and so when they're looking you in the eye and they're telling you something, they're feeding into you, it changes your energy. It changed my demeanor. I could feel a shift, literally, physically in my body of like, oh. And if this is somebody I look up to and I admire and I go to for mentorship and they're telling me this, they're not, fluffing anything. They mean it. They're genuine. They're in a leadership role. They're literally there to mentor you. So the credibility that this person had, I think, really helped to set the truth within me. I will say one other thing to what we were just talking about of like going back to our origins, right? We're born perfect. We are born perfect. And we learn the fears and the doubts. That's a learned thing, So if we're born perfect, when you come right out the womb, you have your first experience of trauma, right? Like you're coming out and you're like, the world, it's bright in here and I'm cold and what's going on? So you're coming out the gate into this, we're spiritual beings living a human experience. So your first human experience is trauma, right? But we're born perfect. We're in the womb perfect. So if we think back to those kind of origins, just wanted to add that little nugget in there. But so he poured into me, that person at work, and then I started to I've had so many people across my life, but if they don't have the skills or maybe the credibility, sometimes it's hard to receive the messages. Right? You could have a homeless person on the side of the street that literally God is talking through them, but you're not going to listen because you see them as somebody on the side of the street. So I think for me, it just started to open up more doors of respecting people's messages and perspectives, even if it's a bad thing. So I had women in my jobs because I was in a very male-dominated industry, and women are just competitive and weird, and I don't understand it. I'm like, girl, we're on the same team. Let's get there together. Like, what are we doing right now, right? But I was challenged a lot, and I started to realize, too, that those were really good feedback things as well. Because if I'm triggering something in you, it's a reflection of me. So if someone's coming at me in some kind of way, those were also lessons for me that would pour into me like, okay, how could I maybe deliver this message to this person better next time?
Yeah.
Or what is it that's making them so upset or causing this situation? What did I do wrong? How can I get better?
Right.
So sometimes it takes that self-reflection too about like the victimhood and, you know, having the people that pour into you and also the people that challenge you and make you question certain things or trigger you. Those are also opportunities to start to grow and kind of learn from them as well. Not just the people you feel like, oh, you're credible, I'm going to respect and listen to you. The people that are driving you crazy and challenging you, they're just as important.
Right.
Yeah, so luckily I've had both spectrums of it, but super blessed with good leadership.
Good. No, that makes perfect sense. And you talked a lot about, like, you said it probably 2 or 3 times, like blessings come from those hard lessons that you learn. And sometimes it is tough to see past the adversity, to even see the lesson sometimes and get to this state of gratitude when you just trained yourself to be a victim. Right? So how do people practice that though, right? Like, cause, okay, and I'll use myself as an example of, I'll wake up in the morning and I really hate the morning, right? Like I thank you God for everything, but in the morning I am like sleepy, I'm drowsy, I don't want to get up, I'm cold because my air is on 67. And the first thing that can come out of my mouth is, I am so tired, right? And then it's an instant, and I've trained myself to do this, it's instant moving into, I am so grateful that I get an opportunity to breathe and do life again today. Like I go into that when I start having those moments, but I do it effortlessly because I've practiced it for so long. And so when we're facing adversity, whether it's in the workplace and business, there has to be a habit and routine around gratitude in order for you to be able to make that perspective shift quickly. So you're not a victim to your day, week, month, or whatever your circumstance is. Do you have any specific gratitude? I know you talked about meditation. Do you have any specific gratitude practices that you do daily that helps keep this victim mentality tamed? And now it's a, you know, and when it happens, it's now your co-conspirator versus your enemy.
Yeah.
Right?
The level up, right?
Right.
So you have to become so familiar with your unconscious thoughts. And the way that you have to do that, it's something I've actually taken from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and his like understanding of neuroscience and all this, and you know, neuroscience is a huge thing. If you understand how your brain and your body works, it'll be a lot easier for you to be like, okay, I'm tripping right now. Let's like reframe this. This is physically not good for my body.
Right.
You know, so if I'm angry, my stomach's going to be hurting all the time. Like emotions are stored in your body.
Right.
And so I think if you can wake up first thing in the morning, that first thought, and I'm proud of you because you are doing something that a lot of people have no idea that that's even a possibility. So like applaud to you for even like, that's a big deal for you to wake up. And I'm gonna give you a little shout out to your mothering, girl. Like, let's just, we're gonna drop the mic on that one because I admire that. And that takes a skill. It's just like working out. You have built the muscle. You became conscious of like, you know, I just told my business partners this the other day. I'm like, man, I've been talking about I'm tired a lot lately. And I'm like, ooh, I realized I'm starting to create a story. I'm tired, y'all. And I'm like, I'm tired, but I'm like, I am tired. And it's like, girl, because you rising, you're going to another level in your life.
Yes.
And you're going to learn the lessons of like, I need more people, right? So I think your first step is the minute you wake up in the morning, and there's meditations out there, Dr. Joe Dispenza. I am not going to go out there and rewrite meditations. I'm not going to try to be a meditation coach. I'm going to teach you the science, and I'm going to give you the meditation and the tools, and I'm going to help you keep you accountable. That's where we're going to draw the line because there's tons of people doing it out there. We are just going to leverage their tools. And so the first thing in the morning, he has this meditation, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he's like, okay, what are the thoughts that you're having? And I'm like, oh, man. And I mean, every couple of months, it's a new thought that I become aware of. Right. So you have your surface level thoughts like, oh, I'm tired, or I wish I could sleep in more. But it's like you have a purpose and you do have the energy. If you would just stop telling yourself you're tired all the time and be like, I have all the energy and I am blessed with this purpose and this mission that I can go out and impact people and help other people make money too. And all of the things that we're able to do based on me rising to the occasion. What is my impact? It's how I'm going to show up. So if I keep telling my team I'm tired, you think they're going to start saying they're tired? Oh yeah, I'm hearing it now too, and I'm sick of them saying it, you know? I'm like, stop talking about being tired. And they're like, well, you're tired too. And I'm like, oh, you are right. right.
That double-edged sword.
Dang, cha-cha, you know? I'm like, oh, I am tired. Okay, you're right. And so this morning I was like, I have all the energy, you know? I filmed all day yesterday. I was like, I am so blessed that I get to do what I love to do. Yeah. And I'm full of energy. So first thing, become aware of those thoughts. Yeah. I'm talking the second you wake up in the morning, grab your pen and paper, have it on your nightstand. Don't even give your chance, get out of the bathroom or get out of your bed, go to the bathroom, go to the you know, all the things that you're doing in the morning with your routine on autopilot, brushing your teeth, checking social media, cut it. Wake up in the morning, sit up and start writing that down. And when you do that, you start to become aware of so much. And then shameless plug, I go and use his meditation. You can sit with yourself for a minute, however you feel like doing it. But his meditation has helped me be like, what are the thoughts? It's a guided meditation. It tells you, you know, what are the thoughts that you do want to have? Right. I don't want to be tired. I want to tell myself I've got all the energy and like, I've got a team that can help me and I'm not having to do all the work anymore. So what am I tired for? You know, I just hired a creative director. She's amazing. You know what she asked me today? So are you going to still try to do all this editing? I wouldn't even let her do her job. I was like, I'm editing this video, girl. She's like, but you hired me and I'm not doing editing. What are you doing? You know? So I had to learn. I'm learning to let go of control. Yes. I've learned a lot. But yeah, becoming aware and then rewriting those thoughts of like, what's the opposite of that? Because the only way you know what the opposite is to have that contrast. Yeah. So love the contrast, love the challenges, love the negative thoughts because it's natural. We're human. There is not a person on this planet who doesn't have a thought like that. Yeah. Not a person.
You're fine.
And if they're out there, let me know.
Nothing's wrong with you is what she said.
Yeah. Okay. We're all a hot mess. We all have those thoughts. Everybody. And if you don't, you lying.
She's like, find the camera. You're lying.
You lying out there. But yeah, just become aware of them. Yeah. Figure out how you want to reframe them. Yep. And then choose to make those new decisions to have those new thoughts. And it's just like working out. You can choose to get up and juice. Yeah. You can choose to eat that cheeseburger or get that salad. Sometimes the cheeseburger is like, you know, your iron's low. You know? But it's a choice. So just
peer pressure.
Again, become aware. Become aware, and then you can go from there to start to reprogram the neural pathways in your brain that help you to start to create those new thoughts, and then the new thoughts create new experiences. New experience lead to new emotions, and then those new emotions start to help you have those better thoughts. Yes. Like, oh, I'm feeling good, so I'm going to keep thinking these good thoughts. Yeah. So it's just a cycle. But yeah, you have to become aware.
Yes, I love that. And what I took away from what you're saying, and I hope that the audience hears, because sometimes we have these unrealistic expectations of the changes that we're going to make. So you practice, I'm 38 years old, so for 34 years, I practice limiting beliefs. And I even did a video the other day and said, you know, one of my friends would ask me, we used to talk every day, and he'd be like, how you doing? I'm tired. I said that for years. So I'm not going to all of a sudden just turn into this, like, person who practices gratitude effortlessly and the person who believes in herself, you know, because, right? I am going to only get better because of the way that I build a habit and the way that I'm practicing. Here's that theme again, right? So I love your example and the tip around, like, here's something you could do. Just put it by your bed. So that's your cue. You got a cue set up for behavior change right here by your bed. So all you got to do, instead of grabbing the phone.
And don't put your notes on your phone. I'm not telling you to grab your phone and put your notes in there. You need to write it down.
I like that, though. That's what I was taking away. Like, because I have so many, because what this becomes, and I don't even know if we're still on subject, but what this becomes.
Let it ride, girl. Let it ride.
What this becomes is, like, I have so many notes that date back to, like, 2017. And I have, my brain is always going. So when I have to dump it, or otherwise I'll have a headache and I'm just not even nice anymore because I got so much on my mind. And so I have to dump it here. But when you're putting something this critical in a cloud of notes, a phone full of notes that you have to sift through to find, like, it's not even real for real. But that writing it down first thing in the morning as a part of your routine, that's actionable. You do it and you practice it so that it becomes a part of who you are, versus expecting yourself to all of a sudden wake up and be Micki Graham, who meditates for an hour in the morning and writes down her positive thoughts. And then you said, love those negative thoughts. I was like, I'm about to run around this room real fast.
Let's go.
Because that's where we get hung up. That's why I'm glad you said it. That's actually where we get hung up. Oh, yeah. Is dwelling in the negative thoughts, or feeling or judging ourselves because we had the negative thought. But everybody has negative thoughts. I think I posted something the other day of like, because I'm a very like happy.
Yes, you are.
I have a lot of joy. This is
That's
genuine.
why I like
This
being
is
here.
genuine
Yeah.
stuff too. Like,
Yes.
I have been
And it's
through.
always like that.
I have been through a lot, but I still have joy.
You choose
because
joy.
I choose joy, right? So I've been through a lot, and I still choose joy. But those negative thoughts, I think I posted 87% of my 70,000 thoughts are actually positive. So I'm cool with 58,120 of my thoughts being positive and the other ones being negative. I'm not mad at myself for those 12, 13,000 thoughts that are negative.
Yeah.
They were mine. I'm human. I'm normal.
You grew. You grew.
Right.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it's probably about 50-50. So, hey, I get to reflect and be grateful for the way because it's showing up in how I'm like walking in the rooms and like, I can feel my confidence and my dominion because these practices, when I started meditating, when I started reflecting, journaling, spending time in healthy community. Don't miss that. Healthy community, not just in community. Not toxic community. That's another episode. Note to self. But doing these positive things that I've intentionally done is actually changed the way that I'm showing up as well. And I don't feel like a victim. And if and when I do get into victim mode, not if, when I get into victim mode, because this is going to be a forever journey, then you use the keyword of reframe. I know how to reframe it, and I can do it in just a few seconds. I was looking at something, I'm being real vulnerable today. I was looking at something yesterday, and I said something that wasn't positive. It was on I think I saw something on social media and I said something that wasn't positive. It actually came out my mouth. And I said, oh my goodness, that was awful. And I immediately changed the language and said like something nicer. And like, kind of just said a quick apology, like, oh, I'm sorry, Lord. I didn't mean to say that. But again, that only comes because it's what I practice, right? Any additional thoughts on that before I take us to the final 5 words?
Look, you're human.
Yeah.
Be human. Give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
It's all good. And you have to have contrast so that you can understand the opposite side of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just a choice.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to later podcasts of getting more into the neuroscience part.
I know. I was about to geek out.
I think before you leave here today, I'm going to schedule you to come on so we can do the next one. But giving yourself grace and knowing that you are a human. We're talking about victimhood in the workplace. We talked a little bit about vulnerability, getting lessons. It's all a part of the human experience.
That's it.
Like, and then we're still breathing. We have tomorrow to live. So let's do it out loud and boldly. Yes. Yeah. So we always on the 5-Minute Career Hack podcast ask our guests to share their final 5 words. It doesn't have to be a phrase, but it can. But any final 5 words that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I don't even think I have 5 words. Just trust the process.
Okay, 3 is good.
And yourself. There we go.
Oh!
There, my little. There's your 5 words. Okay.
Trust the process and yourself. Yes. Yeah. That gut feeling you get when you're.
It's no coincidence.
Yep. And we often meet it too when we're about to make a choice too. Make that choice of whether or not to get those chips or to get the fruit.
You know better.
I need to trust myself and make sure I make the healthy choice for my life. I appreciate you so much, Micki.
Thank you for having me.
This has been a joy. It's just been a joy talking to you today. I've learned much, and I look forward to having you on again. More to come.
Thank you. It's been an honor. I love you too.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
I truly hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed doing it for you. However, it doesn't have to end there. Come on over to our Facebook group community right now. You're going to get exclusive content that we weren't able to include in this episode as well as past episodes. We've got challenges, we've got research, we've got lives, you name it, all for you in bite-sized chunks so that you can continue this development journey. Go ahead, click the link right now in the description show notes, and we'll see you there.